Hey everybody, and welcome back. Oh, wait a second. Let's shed a little light on the subject. Yeah, that'll work. You ever get to that point where you feel like, you're rounding third base and you're heading for home plate? We're there, and I'm incredibly excited. I want to, before I give you guys a quick tour of everything we got done and where we're at on this stage, there's a couple things I'd like to cover. First off, for everyone that knows that has a build planned that's bringing your bike here, I want we're moving parts like crazy. So all of your parts are up here tagged, ready to go. I've probably got 2 more loads worth of parts that I'm bringing over for everybody. And then I've got some inventory and some other stuff that's going in up here. Just making a load at a time. Every time I come up here every weekend, I'm bringing a big load up here in my trailer to kind of soften the load. So what I mean by rounding, well, let me back. It's late. Oh, man. I ain't gonna lie. These 40-hour weekends and then 40, 50-hour weeks at work, they're wearing me down. So anyway, back to the updates. I think we've got 8 bikes left in the shop that are this close to being done. I've already been tuning, so let's see, Mr. Fitzpatrick's bike, Mr. Yezi's bike, Mr. Trankina's bike, and what's the other one? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Again, remember, it's late and I'm tired. There's another one. 4 of them I've already started tuning. In the tuning process, I'm almost done with those 4. They're almost done. The last 4, we're putting the finishing touches on it, finishing up the build itself, drop the engine of the bike. So we're very, very close. It looks like we're gonna meet our deadline of getting them wrapped up right at the time it's time to start relocating here. So, Mr. Yezi, by the way, yours is kicking my butt. It's an 03 model anniversary bike, and there's something going on in there. I don't know if something in the harness or something like that. We did have to battle some stuff with the TSSM. He knows what all I'm talking about. A swap that was done when the bike was new. So anyway, we're working our way through it. So needless to say, guys, all you guys that are waiting on builds, I don't want you to think that I'm neglecting your bikes at the shop for the sake of doing this, because I'm not. I'm burning 40, 50 hours a week at the shop. And then coming up here, driving up late Friday night, getting here Saturday mornings, some midnight, 1 o'clock, getting up at, 4, 5, 6 sometimes, and going for 18 to 20 hours on this Saturday, sleep for 3 or 4 hours. Then I'm back in here on Sunday doing it again for another 15, 20 hours. And then, Monday I jump up and haul butt back to the shop, and then, then go the balance of the day on Monday through late Friday, 12, 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, something like that, to try to get all this stuff done. So needless to say, I'm wore out. Now, rounding third. This is exciting. And I want to caveat this again. I am not a professional electrician. But it's one of the reasons on the YouTube video, I think you learn by doing, right? Now, granted, I have wired a house before, a small house. I've added circuits. I've done things like that. So I'm not a complete stranger to electrical, but I have never taken on a project of this scope. And at this point, it's over, say there's roughly 5,700 feet in a mile, or is it 5,400 feet in a mile? I don't remember. It's late. But anyway, I'm well over a half a mile of wire that I've run in this place. Well over 100, devices, outlets, things like that. And then you've got the 3-phase, and then you've got the 240 stuff. I mean, I've never taken on a project like this, but I'm thankful that so many of our YouTube viewers and stuff, guys that are professional electricians, that have reached out to give me some constructive criticism and some advice. And I also want to give a big shout to the state inspector from this area. He actually came in and did a consult with me once I had just kind of started and designed the system. And he gave me a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, include me in on some of the code that I wasn't familiar with. Codes vary from state to state. And then there's like a 2017 code, and not all states have updated to like the 2022 code and all this kind of stuff. It gets really detailed, believe it or not. And I'll run over some of those things that I think are interesting, because a lot of the stuff had a curiosity. It seemed foolish to me to be necessary, but it's things that made sense. I'm all about the whys. So he was kind enough to explain the why, and those things actually make a lot of sense. And I'm thankful for these inspectors, because I want my building to be safe, and then insurance purposes, all that type of stuff. So that's a really great thing. But anyway, you learn by doing. And I'm proud to say that when he came in, he was actually bragging on me a bit, and said that it really, really looked fantastic, and he was very happy with what he saw. And for this to be my first time doing a project of this scope, I was pretty happy about that. So basically, so when I say we're rounding third, I'm at the point right now for electrical inspection. Tomorrow the plumber is coming in. He's putting in all the water lines, the PEX, sinks, shower, toilet. He'll be doing that over the next 2 or 3 days. Plumbing, boom, done. I'm also putting in a tankless water heater, and I'll show you guys that. I've always wanted a washer and dryer, a small washer and dryer in the shop to clean detail rags and towels and things like that. So and then for the shower, that's why I went tankless, and I wanted to reserve room. And I'm about energy conservation, so that's why everything in here, and saving money on my electric bill, that's why everything in here is LED. So I'm going to give you some details on that for you guys that may be thinking about doing your own shop too. So I'll run over a little bit of that stuff. Immediately following that is the inspection within the next few days. Right after that, sheetrock guys are coming in. I'm not hanging sheetrock. So we've already went over where I'm sheetrocking and all that stuff. So sheetrock guys, and then right after that, final electrical, final plumbing, run all the surface mount, 3-phase stuff, welder outlets and all that. And it is bam, bam, bam. So we're rounding third, man. We're finally at that point that things are going to start happening really, really fast. As the bikes are rolling out of the shop and I can shut the equipment down, I'm going to start moving stuff in here like crazy. So it looks like it's very possible we are going to meet that deadline at the end of this month. So I'm pretty excited about that. So anyway, let's go over some details. We've talked about the electrical a lot, and some of the stuff, like to get ready for that first official rough-in inspection. I didn't know there was so many things that needed to be done. I thought it was just the idea was just for them to have an overview. Well, it's things like all your grounds have to be tied together. Wires got to be pulled back. I mean, just so many little things, so that when the inspector comes in, because remember, he's coming in and he's looking at everything you have, because once he approves that, that's when sheetrock and sheathing and everything else goes up, and he can't see the stuff anymore. So he has to see everything that's there. So when you consider the number of outlets, I got to tell you, I've always had a great deal of respect for tradesmen, regardless of your trade. I've got a whole different appreciation for electricians now, because your hands it's very small, tedious work. You're pulling sheathing, you're tying, you're twisting, you're, just constant motions like this, so your hands just hurt. And then when you're dealing with metal boxes, you end up bleeding everywhere. I get cuts all over me and stuff. So basically what this was getting ready for that point. So let's show you guys what I have done since the last video. So I decided to, again, run all LEDs. So everything is done up here. All the boxes are tied, all the grounds are tied together, things like that. I did put a couple of switches in, which is atypical for a rough-in inspection. But I wanted him to look at how I was tying everything together, and so he was cool with that. Plus, here's one thing. One part of the code is if you have stairs, you have to have a 3-way switch, one at the top, one at the bottom. And I thought that was kind of odd, because my thought is, I've got lights, I can see the stairs. Well, let's say, for example, you're at the top of the stairs in a room, and somebody downstairs flips off the light. Well, now you can't see to go down the stairs. That's why there has to be a switch, top and bottom. The other thing, a switch has to be inside the room of the lights that it's controlling, so you can't put a switch on the outside. The reason for that, same reason in the bathroom, is that, let's say you were in the room, if your switch was on the outside, someone could flip the switch off, now you're in the dark. So that's why there has to be a switch on the inside. So my solution, and he was, the inspector said, we're going to have to put in an extra light for the stairs. So my thing was, don't you just have to see the stairs? He said, yes. So I said, let's put in a 3-way switch for one row of the high bay lights. And that's what this interior switch does here. Kills that. So I have a switch top and bottom for that. And this is the first time I've lit the whole thing up. Pretty stoked. Plenty of light. So anyway, up here, I'll show you the lights I'm using. So these little boxes here, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 in this room. I'm putting a suspended ceiling up here, and I didn't want to have to run like can lights or drop-in lights. I wanted something really small, lightweight, easy to deal with. So you wire in these little control boxes. Now, one really cool thing about this is you can actually select the tone of the light. There's a little switch inside of it, and you can choose whether you want 3K, 4K, or 5K on the scale. And these are the lights, and they're pretty cool. So if I got these at a big box retailer, the orange and black one, of course, and so if you've got a like a suspended ceiling or something like that, these things weigh nothing. So you just cut the hole and they pop in place, and then they're flush mount on top of the ceiling, and that's pretty slick. Another thing about these is they're also dimmable, so I can run a dimmer switch on them, and they're not too expensive. I think it was about $50 for a pack of 4. So if you just were pricing LED light bulbs, you're really not too far, but it's less expensive than traditional can lighting and all that stuff too. So was happy to do that. And then of course in this room here, we've got 4 up top, and again, everything is cut back, sliced up, and the way it needed to be with the stingers in it and stuff like that for the inspector. So all of these outlets are ready to go. This area is prepped and ready. Now, let's head downstairs. I decided to go a different route for the lights in this downstairs office. Of course, in the bathroom here, we've already went through here. And so I'm running this. Now, these are LEDs as well, but because I don't have a drop-in ceiling, I thought I would run a box. So we've got we've got 6 that'll be in here, 2 over the kitchenette area, and all that'll be active all at one time. And there's another code I wasn't aware of. Every exterior door has to have a light on it, an entrance light. Didn't know that, so I had to go back and add those, and I guess, yeah, it makes sense why you need to have that. So the lights that I'm running in the office are these. And these were a great deal on these things. You say they just wire into a box, no big deal. But still surface mount, still LED. These are 3000K, which is a real soft light. It looks more like a incandescent bulb, a warm light, basically. And also got these at the orange and black store. And let's see, I think these were $40 for a pack of 6, which is great. So these are an equivalent of a, well, it's 15 watt, but I think it's an equivalent of like a 75 watt light bulb or something like that. 925 lumen, that's about right. So perfect for, you know, soft light. Now for the machine shop area. Oh man, I've been dealing with low level light for forever. Like in my shop now, I do have LED, you know, high bay lights, but they're like, I think a 4 foot or whatever, and there's not enough of them. In my shop before, there still wasn't enough light, and I had to have work lights over the top of everything. So where I was doing very intricate detailed work, machine shop, I wanted a ton of light. Again, this is a temporary circuit that I wired up temporarily. So anyway, here we go. I could not be happier with these things. Now, there's a bunch of them in here, right? So machine shop's gonna go basically to here. There'll be assembly tables and such through here, just, you know, odd and stuff. So we'll have the lathe and the mill, valve seat machine, boring bar, cylinder honing station, and a crank balancer, actually a full-size Stewart Warner digital crank balance. I got to give a big shout out to Mike Beland at A1 Cycles. He gave me a call. Man, I'm stoked. And it's one of the older ones, like the late 90s. So I will actually be able to balance everything as I understand, that crank balancer, from what he told me, actually came out of Rolls-Royce place. So everything from a straight 8, an inline 8 crank, all the way down to a Harley crank. I'm pretty stoked. Digital balancer, how cool is that? Anyway, so thanks, Mike. I'll be coming to pick that thing up here in probably about 3 or 4 weeks. So anyway, it looks like a lot of lights, but get this, these things only draw like 0.8 amps each. And then they're 15,000 lumens, I think it is. And these are at 5K. I wanted super bright white in the area I was going to be working. Now, there will be 6 more over a little fabrication area here. This is not where everything's going to sit. Still got to move stuff around, but I've got I've actually got 2 blast cabinets. I've got a real big one, and one I run glass in, the other I run walnut shells in, one for cleanup, one for final prep. Anyway, different story. So here is welding table. As you can see, the top's not on it yet because that's pretty dang heavy. And along this wall right here will be where all my welders and torches go right here. I think I've 3 welders, 2 torches, something like that. Anyway, so there'll be a couple of welding outlets there, and there'll be one over here. And then, as I'd mentioned before, yeah, and again, there'll be 6 lights up here. I'm hanging a curtain around this so that it will seal this area off, the dust, the dirt, the grinding dust, things like that. So I'm pretty stoked about that too. And for the outside lights, these are cheap. Got these things off Amazon. So just motion sensors, security floodlights, pretty simple. And these things, I think I paid like 15 bucks a piece for them or something like that. And they're supposed to last forever. So, I think for all the rest of the power, again, for this area right here is all going to be surface mounted. That doesn't have to be done until the last final inspection. So I was just getting to the point that we can get inspection just so I can get sheetrock and everything else done. So all of that's going to be surface mounted, and all of the air lines around the entire shop, we're going to run Dan-Ams. Dan-Am air lines all throughout the shop, and Tony Larimer's giving me some great ideas on ways that we can run all those airlines, but everything's going to be surface mounted on the airlines as well, because it's nice and easy to tap into it if you need to add a drop or something like that. Same thing with the power. If you move a piece of equipment or something like that and it's surface mount, it's real easy to cut into that conduit, add your pieces, move some things around and stuff. So all of that stuff will be surface mounted, and as well these are all the bike lifts are going to go down through here. I'll have a sink at that end, and all the quads that go through here, all of them are going to be surface mounted as well. Now for this area, another parts washer, sink, wall cabinets. I have 2 really nice engine assembly stands that are going to go here. And this is really going to be a focal point in the shop because we're going to be doing all these engine assembly videos for gyms, and doing the pan head, the head, shovel head, and Evo from complete crank up, and that's going to be a very, very long series. And we'll actually be doing a full restoration, engine and transmission on Jim Teason's pan head. So I'm really, really stoked about that. Let's see, what else? I think anything else? I think that about covers it for this video. So, guys, again, thanks a million for watching, your encouraging words, and for you customers for being patient. This is a big life change. It's also a dream come true for me. This is something, I'm almost 50 years old. This is something I've dreamed about since I was 15. And, I've just worked hard, and you work and you work and you work and you save to be able to pull something like this off. And, but I couldn't have done it, without all of you guys, your support, your business, buying parts from us, all those things, it all adds to it. And it means the world to me, it's a gift. So thanks everybody for what you do. And before I sign off, let's listen to the silence for a minute. Great. Nothing but frogs and crickets. Actually, if you Yelp, I discovered this. There is black bear here. You'll see one every now and then. There's black bear, bobcats, mountain lions, and coyotes. Coyotes around here are crazy. There's a bunch of them. If you hoop just and holler just right, you'll get them fired up. You can hear them kind of all around. And then I had a bobcat that came across, but throughout the day today, across the front of the shop here, there was a family of deer that went by and just kind of lumbered through. Didn't seem like they were too scared of anything, which was kind of neat. So it's a pretty cool spot. Can't wait to host friends and customers and everybody kind of get to see this place, right? One more little view, make everybody a little drunk. All right, guys. Again, thanks a million. We're going to get back on tech videos here very soon. Let me give you a quick update on that stuff. We've got several videos that I've shot over the past few months for SADA and Dan-Am Company with Tony Larimer and Andy Anderson, getting the paint ready for the FXR project. So we've got a ton of videos I've already shot for that. Next is Jim's videos. I did one on oil pumps. I did one on top and oiler systems for some of the older engines and stuff. So we got Jim's videos coming. Then we're going to be starting with the stuff with Diag 4. We've got, I'm planning a trip. Remember the Klotz thing? So we'll be going to Klotz and watching oil formulation and all that type of stuff. So there's a ton of content sitting there that I just haven't had time to edit yet, but we'll get to it. And so what's going to happen is once I get in this place and all the bikes get here, I'm going to take a little bit of time off just to recoup and recover. And then we're going to be flooding YouTube. It's going to be a whole new deal, guys. I'm so excited to be able to pump out good content just to have more time to do it, right? More specialized videos, more education, get this stuff out there. Things that you guys have been requesting in the comments. So anyway, there's so many great things to come. One more thing I'll show you. The tankless water heater. It's a very small unit. Not much to it. Relatively inexpensive. I'll put my hand right here just to give you an idea. But anyway, you can't do multiple things at one time with this one. I needed one just big enough to be able to take a shower and have continuous hot water with a shower, and then have, continuous hot water to run a small washer and dryer. So, the idea with that was I'm one person. I'm not going to be taking 2 showers at once, or washing clothes and taking a shower, or washing, towels and wash rags and all that other stuff. So, anyway, so that's pretty much it. I think I showed you guys the American. Yeah, these guys, what a great company American Rotary is. The tech support these people have given me has been absolutely awesome. It's a wonderful product. And so I'm actually going to be doing a video for American Rotary as well. And I'll be adding a sub panel right here and all my 3-phase stuff, all sub panel. I could keep going and going, but this is a 23-minute video already. And enough's enough, right? I need to go home. I need to take a shower because I don't smell too good and I'm tired. Take care of yourselves and each other. You guys have a good one. See you on the next one.